friends. Looks like we are live. And so I will just wait until we have, I see some people joining on here. Hi, Yaz. Thanks for joining me today. Hi, Debbie. And I see Heather is here and Daniel. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. I'm excited to hang out with you guys for the next hour. I hope you're having a great week so far. Just kind of busy with, normal Pinkfresh stuff and normal life. So I'm excited to create a card with you guys today. Hi, Kay Andrews and Dee. Hi, Connie. I'm glad to have you back for your second time. So welcome, glad you found us again. And Visma, it's possible I said that incorrect. Hopefully I got it close enough. And hi, Carol. So happy you guys could all join us. You see we've got Mary from Colorado and Melissa from Tennessee. Looks like sunny Tennessee. So our weather has cooled off quite a bit here in Minneapolis. Definitely starting to feel some fall vibes. And then I looked ahead at the weather and it looks like it's going to get a little hot again in the next week or so, but that is how fall is, isn't it? Yes, Crap Mom, create and connect boxes will go out a little bit closer to the event date, but we're anxious for you all to see your goodies as well. Hi, Beth Ann and Susan. I'm glad that you guys have all joined us now. All right, friends, we're going to make one more holiday card before we maybe put the Christmas product away for a little bit, but I wanted to make one more card with one of the stencil sets that I haven't yet had a chance to use. And so I'm going to create a card today with a Holiday Botanical Background layering stencil set. I'm going to do something a little bit different, but Shannon created a card with it last week, a one-layer card on our she did a YouTube video for it last week. And so if you haven't checked that video out, the card is stunning. And she added depth and dimension to this one layer card so beautifully. So definitely be sure to check that out. It's a couple of videos back here on our YouTube channel. All right, looks like we have quite a few more people joining us. So before we get the camera all switched around and get going, let's just go over a couple of housekeeping things. Hi, Nancy, and Sherry and Patricia. So glad you guys are joining us. We give away a $15 gift card code at the end of every live. So all you gotta do is what you're already doing. Just keep chatting with us in the chat section. Keep in mind, if you have questions about what we're doing or questions about something we're using, feel free to share them in the chat. Now, once I get this camera flipped around and I get creating, I see a lot fewer comments than I do right now. But we do have Heather moderating in the comments and she catches most of it. But if for some reason we both miss your comment, we're not ignoring you, just ask it again because we likely just missed it. So also underneath the video, there is a little arrow and the word share next to it. Click on that and share this video with someone. You could share it via email with a crafty friend. You could share it to your Facebook page. You could share it in a Facebook group as long as it's allowed, just to put it out there to see if anybody else wants to come join us. And then when you're done, come back here and let us know in the comments that you shared. And that is an extra entry into winning the $15 gift card code. Okay. Let me get this pulled up on my phone real quick so I will be able to see comments. Once I flip everything around, there we go. I've got it all pulled up. Debbie, it looks like you're under the Christmas tree product combo just arrived. That's super exciting. So if you follow me on Instagram at all, I did Facebook Live last week. And I normally will have posted my card by now. So literally minutes after doing my Facebook Live last week, and I was starting to clean up, apparently when I was using Raspberry Bliss ink and I put the top on my glass mat, quite a bit of ink transferred So, and then I was putting stuff away and my card flipped over on top of it and it totally ruined that foiled background. So I have to redo that card. That's why it hasn't been posted yet. So hopefully I'll get around to it soon. So gotta love that. All right, yes, and Heather also mentioned we would love for you to give the video a thumbs up as well. What's super helpful to us to keep our videos getting out there for all to see. Okay, friends, I think we've got plenty of people on here, and let's go ahead and get this camera flipped around, and we will get going on today's card. Okay. All right. Yes, Daniel, I am going to try to save the pink tree. So just so you guys know, my husband just arrived home, so it's possible that my dogs might get a little rowdy. Hopefully they won't, but just in case, that's the reason why. Okay. All right, friends, so we are going to use the Holiday Botanicals Background Stencil set today. And this is what it looks like when all is said and done. I am going to change the colors up a little bit, but it will, of course, still resemble this. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Hi there, Barbara. And it looks like someone is just catching us live. They typically watch the replay. Oh, Julie. Hi, Julie. Glad you could catch us live as well. We are excited that you're here. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab a piece of cardstock. And if you watch Heather and I do our lives, we both do this a little bit differently. I like to stick my cardstock down to my glass mat and then tape the stencils over top of it. Heather puts a little tape on the back of her paper because she likes to move hers around. So, but there's lots of different ways to do this. So just find the way that works best for you when you're using these layering stencils. So this is a 4-piece layering stencil set. And if you're new to Pinkfresh Studio or haven't used our layering stencils, what you'll see, and I know this isn't hard to see because they're etched. This isn't easy to see, because they're etched, is the stencils are all numbered in the corner, and then they have these little alignment guides, and there's an alignment guide in each corner of each stencil. And so the stencil number is just a suggestion. You can absolutely do them in any order you want. This one works right with my brain, so I'm just going to go in order from stencil 1 through 4. And then the alignment guides that are in each corner actually line up perfectly to a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panel of cardstock. And so just by using those alignment guides, I know that the image will line up perfectly with each stencil that we use. So this first stencil, I'm going to do all in the same color. And that is going to be Aquamarine. That is so, you know me, you know I like to do my greenery in aquas quite often. We're going to have a little bit of both for this card. We're going to use aquas and we're going to use greens as well. So let's go ahead and ink up this first stencil number 1. So once again, we're using Aquamarine. And what I'm going to do, like I always do, is I kind of blend a little heavier towards the middle and then work my way out just to add a little bit of extra dimension to those leafy pieces. You can do it however you want to, though. If you want to be heavy-handed on the whole thing or light-handed on the whole thing, completely up to you. It's a great thing about stencils is it's really your preference and your style choice. So yeah, so Daniel pointed out this cool ink pack holder. This is called an ink stand. The cool thing about them is they have like a rubber grippy on the bottom, so you don't have to hold your ink pad when you're ink blending, which is really very cool. And then how I mentioned earlier on how I ruined my card last week because the lid had been sitting on my glass mat. I like that the lid sits off my glass mat, so I don't run the risk of getting ink on my mat and ruining my card, which is exactly what I did last week. So that little feature is nice. Oh, someone's telling me I have them the wrong way. Okay, well, good. I'm glad someone told me that. So let's flip this around. Thanks, Brianne. I knew that it seemed like it didn't fit right. There we go. Perfect. Okay, let's keep going. Gotta ask the experts. I'm glad you guys are loving that. Yeah, this is the first time I've actually used the inkstand. It's really very cool. I love that it is keeping my desk clean, and I love that I don't actually have to hold this, my ink pad down. Now I can hold my stencil or, do something else. So that's actually really cool. Denise, aqua is my favorite color too. Okay. All right, so we are done with Aquamarine. Let's go ahead and wipe the stencil down so I don't get ink all over myself. And let's take off stencil number 1. It's a good start, right? Not much to it yet, but we'll get there. So let's move on to stencil number 2, which brings in the holly leaves and then adds a little bit more detail to the mistletoe. So we're going to do a little bit of masking on this one because I want the holly leaves, pardon me, to be, I want them to be green. So we are going to grab some Post-it tape. All I did was transfer my Post-it tape to my cute little tape holder here. So it is still just plain old Post-it tape. And we are just going to mask off some areas that I don't want green, because we're going to start with green first. And there's a little hair underneath this stencil, and I don't want, there we go, probably a little bit of dog hair. Lisa, I think they're made out of wood, actually. Okay. So let's see here. I'm going to need a few pieces of this, I think. Maybe not quite so big for some of them. Okay. All right, let's see here. Okay, that's probably enough masking. Okay, so the first layer of green for the holly leaves is going to be Meadow. Right. And Meadow is a little lighter, but I am going to do the details in evergreen, so I might ink blend Meadow a little heavier handed just to make it a little bit darker. Oh, perfect. See, we have Brianne here who actually knows what everything is made out of. I'll let her answer the question. Okay. So let's get our mistletoe. Hi, Kitty. No worries on being late. Join in. And then, of course, if you want to watch the beginning, it will be available for replay not too long after we're finished here. And I got a little green on that guy, but that's okay because I'm going to use a dark enough ink that I don't think it will matter. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's wipe this stencil down a little bit. And let's move our masking tape around so that we can do the next batch of ink blending here. Let's go ahead and move that over. Just cover these up as much as we can. I might need to grab a couple more pieces. Yeah. A lot of people are excited and awaiting their orders. We're excited to see what you guys create as well. So I'm sure they will get there as soon as possible. Okay, so for the next color, we are going to grab Mermaid Cove. And we are going to just do those mistletoe details. Make sure I don't have any green over here. All right, so let's now I just want these to be considerably deeper toned than the aquamarine underneath it. So I'm not really worried about shading or anything on this. I just want to get those nice detail leafy pieces so that they really stand out. Okay. I'm glad you guys are excited about our Christmas release. Seems like quite a few of you are going to be making your Christmas cards from Pinkfresh products this year, which is super exciting. We love to hear that. We love seeing you guys create with our products. Okay, so that was Mermaid Cove. All right. All right, so let's get off all of these masking pieces and let's see what stencil number 2 looks like. Ooh, that is coming along. Okay, stencil number 3 is the details to the mistletoe, and then it's a couple more leafy layers. So we're just going to keep adding more botanical layers into this, which is super exciting. So this one we're going to go ahead and we're going to use evergreen for this layer. I know our warehouse is working super hard on orders right now. So during release weeks, sometimes it can take a little bit longer than that normal 7 to 10 business days to get everything shipped. So just be patient. They are working super hard on getting everything out. Oh, thank you, Donna. Hi, Donna. I don't know if I saw you jump on, so I'm glad that you're here today. Thank you for joining us and for your kindness. Daniel, you're funny. All right, same as before. These are really mostly details, so I'm not super worried about too much shading, maybe a little bit on those ones that are just kind of some added leaves, but the ones that are the details to the holly, mostly just I'm trying to get some good color differentiation in there. And also still those other little botanicals or little leaves are pretty small. So okay, so there is that. Evergreen is one of our darkest inks, so it definitely kind of gets everywhere when you use it, but it's so pretty. Daniel, you're funny. All right, friends, that was stencil number 3. We only have one left. So we've got all of our beautiful greenery added, and honestly, you could leave the next stencil off because this is gorgeous as is. But I'm excited for the final stencil and the little pop of color that it's going to bring to it, because this is the berry, the berry layer. And so you could definitely leave it off if you wanted this to have more of a botanical fill, or you could emboss these in some gold. I think that would be really pretty. We're going to stick with a little bit traditional colors, and we're going to go ahead and ink them up in candy apple red. Okay. Make sure I don't have any leftover green anywhere. We don't want to get that into our candy apple. All right. We are just going to get these berries ink blended in. Kind of same as before. I'm ink blending a little bit more at their base, but they're pretty small. So just getting some ink on there is the most important part. Thank you guys. I'm glad you're loving the color mixture. A little bit of traditional, but added with a little bit of not by putting that aqua in there. I think that's a really pretty touch. Okay. I agree. I think the next time I use this stencil, I'm going to emboss the berries in gold and see what they look like, because I do think that that would be really cool. Okay, just going to work in some of this excess ink in there. Yes, Daniel, I said gold, but I'm not using it today. So just in the future. You're so funny. Okay, so I think we're good with the berries. Let's go ahead and clean this off and let's see that final reveal. Okay. That's awesome, Donna. And ta-da, look at how fun that is. All right, so let's pop this up. Take a look at it a little bit closer. That is so fun. I love how these turned out. Glossy accents would be really cool on the berries as well. I agree. I think that would be fun as well. Teresa, candy apple red is actually also one of my favorite. It's the red. So not the coral. Of course, coral reef is probably my favorite color of all of our inks. But whenever I'm reaching for like a red, candy apple is like always my go-to. Okay, friends. So I'm going to set the stencils aside, but later on when the show is over, I will just take some rubbing alcohol that I keep in my desk on a bottle and spritz them down, and that gets them nice and clean, and they dry immediately. So if you are new to layering stencils, I just wanted to give you that little tip. It's a great way to clean them up easily and quickly. Okay, I am going to clean my desk up a little bit here. So let's pull off these tapes. And we are going to go ahead, and I don't think I need the ink stands anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and put those away as well. So we are going to die cut this panel real quick. We are going to use, I just need one. Yes, coral reef. We are going to use the Essentials stitched rectangles to trim this panel down. Amy Moore is asking where they can find the results of the blog hop. All prize winners have been posted to our giveaway page, which is linked in the blog hop posts. Okay. Yeah, Brianne, that is, we found that when we started offering the layering stencils, but you know, we use them for photographs and everything too. So we learned really quickly that rubbing alcohol is a great way to get all of the excess ink off of your stencils. Okay, I'm gonna run this through my Gemini, so it might get loud for a minute, so just bear with me. Okay. So now we have that lovely stitched edge. I always like a nice finished edge on my cardstock panels. Okay. So next we are going to do a couple of different steps here. So, fuzzy on that. I'm gonna grab out my Misty. I'm just gonna do a little mini Misty here because I think that will work just fine. Okay. I'm trying to think which, I think I want that to be the top. And so bear with me here because I'm going to put this up like this. We are going to use the Happy Holiday Circle frame for the sentiments today. Now, I have pre-stamped, heat embossed, and die cut the main sentiment. So we're going to use this great Happy Holidays that I've already stamped and heat embossed in white to red. And we're going to use the It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year directly underneath it. And so actually, I'm going to see if I prefer. No, I think I like it the other way. Okay. Okay, get that over here. So I'm just going to use this because we'll end up popping this up with a little bit of foam. So I just want this to be nice and centered. So remove those magnets first because I think it was throwing me off about where my center is. Okay, and this can come down a little more, so this can come down a little. And this is where I'm going to see if it's straight. And it sure is. Perfect. Okay. So I feel like I can probably just use one magnet here. Okay. So let's go ahead. I'm going to grab my Detail Black ink cube. And if you frequent our lives at all, you know that we ink lightly, stamp lightly, and we do it a couple of times, 2 to 3 times, just because our sentiments are quite dainty. So we like to have stamp it a couple of times just to not, so we don't run the risk of ruining the integrity of that sentiment, but getting it nice and crisp with the black ink. I typically always have to stamp twice anyway, because I am a relatively light stamper. All right, that is perfect. So let's go ahead and put away our stamps. So I am going to move this off and out of the way, just in case, because I am going to spritz this down with a little bit of stamp cleaner. Now keep in mind, this is not alcohol. They just are in the same bottles. This is my homemade stamp cleaner that I use. I try to clean with it whenever I use a hybrid black ink, like our Detail Black, just because it does leave behind a little bit of a residue. And so I like to give my stamps a good scrub when I use an ink like that. Hi, Lori. Welcome. Glad you could join us today. All right. Let's get these all wiped down here. Looks like you guys are having fun in the comments. I love that. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this guy away. All right, so next step to our card. Oh, you know what? I'm actually going to need that to show you the next step. I have a easy little tip for you. So I want to add some interest to my card by adding some white splatter to the images. But actually first, I have one other thing that I actually want to do. I lost my train of thought here. So let's do that really quickly. I actually do need one of these guys really quickly. So we're going to take Ocean Breeze and we are going to just very lightly ink around the edges. I saw Shannon do this last week on her video and I thought it just added such a nice little layer that I thought it would look really pretty because it's going to be a fairly single layer card other than popping up the background and the sentiment with some foam and adding a couple of jewels. So just by doing a little bit of ink blending around the corners, I just feel like it's going to add a little bit of interest. If you Google homemade stamp cleaner, you can find lots of recipes out there. The one that I used called for distilled water and glycerin and baby shampoo. And then I add a couple drops of lavender essential oil into it as well. But there are a few different recipes out there. Okay, so just that alone, look at how much it added to the card just by adding that little bit of ink blending to the edges. So I really like that. And thanks to Shannon for her video last week for that inspiration. Okay. So the next thing that we want to do is I am going to splatter this. So pardon this because this always seems to throw my white balance off a little bit. So just bear with me while we do the splattering part. But I have this Amsterdam acrylic, I think it's like titanium white acrylic ink that I am going to splatter on here. All right, thanks for joining us while you could, Melissa. And we will catch you on the rest on the replay. Nisma, the lavender essential oil does smell really good in the homemade stamp cleaner that I make. Okay, so I just have it on a little clear block here. I've just got a brush. It's like a size 4 round brush, I believe. And glad I noticed this before. I do not want splatters on my sentiment. So I'm just going to take the sentiment and cover it. And then the splatters will fall onto the stamp, which I can wipe off, but it leaves the sentiment underneath free and clear from these lovely white splatters. Okay. It never fails, even though you have a splatter box. I don't know if this happens to anybody else. I still end up finding white splatters everywhere outside of the white splatter box. But that's okay. It's what we do to get pretty splatters, isn't it? I am not completely sure what the glycerin does. I think it might be like a conditioning ingredient, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know exactly why. It also might help remove tougher things like how hybrid inks kind of tend to leave that little bit of a residue behind, but that's purely guessing. There's no science behind that whatsoever. And your shirt. Yep. 100% D. Okay, I think I'm happy with how that looks. Okay, so I didn't think ahead and I did not grab some some water. So we'll just put it in an empty cup real quick and set this aside, and I will clean it later. So let's go ahead and carefully pull this out of the splatter box so we can get that off my desk. Yep, I see some areas where I've got some splatters everywhere. And then let's also carefully pull this off and check that out. My little secondary sentiment has no splatters on it. And so that is how I have always masked off stamped things that I didn't want to have splatter on, because I didn't want to do the splatter at first because then I would have run the risk of stamping that sentiment onto a splatter, which could have ruined the sentiment. So you definitely need to stamp first. And so that's the best way I have found, is using the stamp as a mask. And then yes, I actually didn't get any splatters on it that time, but all you would do is take a damp cloth and you can just wipe your stamp down afterwards, and you can get all of the paint splatters off of it. If they dry a little bit, you can just use your fingernail. Okay. So you can put this away. So we are going to let these set for a minute. And so while that sets, we I'm going to just get some foam tape created. So Carol's asking if I watered down titanium. No, I have this titanium white Amsterdam acrylic ink that I think comes pre-watered down. So it's basically just ready to go. Okay, so I did not pre-prep my usual panel of foam. So I'm going to go ahead and just set this aside for now to keep it safe. And we will go over how I create these large pieces of foam adhesive for my cards. So this is just a piece of white craft foam that I've cut down. It's 3.75 inches by 5 inches so that it will mat perfectly into that 4 by 5.25 inch size panel. And then this is just 5-inch score tape that I just place my little piece of foam on. And then we will just trim it down. You could use whatever nonstick scissors here, but my Fiskars work just fine, so I don't really worry about it. And then just do the other side. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. And there's that not nonstick coming into play. And easy as that, you have a full panel of adhesive. You're not using, the multi-million-dollar costing 3M foam tape all of the time. And then now we have a full panel. Once my little droplets are dry enough, we can assemble the card. But while we're still waiting for that to dry, I'm also going to add, maybe if I can find them, a little bit of thin foam strips, pardon me, to the back of my sentiment so that it can pop as well. I am going to use my more intricate scissors for this one because it's a little bit tinier. Glad you guys like the splatters. I think that adds a lot, especially the cards that are kind of wintry or Christmas themed. I just think it adds a nice touch. And this is going to be a little finicky because this sentiment's pretty thin in most places. I don't know if I need that little tiny guy. It keeps sticking to me. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a chunk here. Brienne, I totally get that. So my desk always on lives, of course, looks pretty clean. And I do actually clean my area quite often, but sometimes when you are working like a lot on projects and your desk just starts to narrow down until you barely have, like this little tiny space to create in. I think we all get that. All right, let's just add a couple of these little smaller pieces that I have. No, that one needs a little bit longer. Oh, Connie, I hope you enjoy stamping with our Stamptember collaboration with Simon Says Stamp. It was a pretty one. All right, do I have enough foam tape on here? Well, yeah, I think we're good. All right, let's see how our splatters are doing. They're really close to being ready. We could maybe actually take the foam tape off the back of the sentiment and let them have a little bit more time to dry. I can also just be extra careful when I go to put it on the card front as well. Yeah, I agree. So I definitely try to clean as I go, but sometimes you get in a zone or you have a lot of things that you have to get done and your space just shrinks smaller and smaller and smaller until you have the tiniest little place to do your work. I actually have a white cart over here that I keep next to me, and oftentimes I will pile things on it before my desk. So if that thing is piled full of stuff and my desk is also like my space has gotten smaller and smaller, you know, I've been working a lot on things. Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to get these little, I think we're probably good. They do dry relatively fast. We just got kind of a bigger splatter down here that I did not mean to do, but you know, it happens. I don't want to get it all over the place. Okay, I think we're probably good. So let's go ahead and do that. So I am just going to remove the release paper here. Hello, Jean, glad you're joining us. No worries on the time. If you want to watch this from the beginning, the replay will be available not too long after we're done here. Oh, and I did kind of smear that. So let's clean it up. It didn't smear on the card. It just got on my desk. So let's do this not to transfer anymore over. Okay. So I have this A2 sized aquacolor card, which I love that it kind of is the next shade up from Ocean Breeze. So I get that nice gradation between the ink blending I did around the corners and the card base. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're loving this card. I am too. It's so festive and beautiful. I love the addition of aqua. Of course, I do. But notice no coral reef, friends. We're doing good because we know that it's sold out. So we are hoping our inks will be restocked soon. We keep crossing our fingers. It's looking more like early October at this point. So just bear with us as we wait for our order. Okay. So there is that. Okay. So we have all of that done. I think our last step is going to be adding some bling. And friends, I think to start, I wanted to do some crystals in the place of not all, but some of the berries, just like little trios around. That one's a little too big, isn't it? Maybe in these areas. Yeah, I think I like these ones to stay the way that they are. But we can do like little trios here. Oh, Joan, I'm excited to see what you create with your stencils. That's awesome. You will always make such beautiful cards, Joan. So I definitely can't wait to see. Okay, and then let's do a little cluster down here. Yes, Allison, this entire thing, well, I mean, the sentiments, of course not, but the background was made all with layering stencils and just a little bit of acrylic ink splattered on it. And maybe I'll do one more little cluster. I want to keep these ones as is, but I like this little cluster to be crystals as well. And then I think we're going to call that good because that's a lot of crystals. All right. Glad you guys are liking your bling. Okay. Lots of fun, isn't it? Okay. Oh, Kelly, I'm glad you found us. I'm glad you're loving all of your Pinkfresh stuff. That's lovely to hear. We love to hear that. Okay, let's go ahead and get these guys glued down. Oh, Marcia, I'm glad that you're joining us now, and definitely this will be available to watch on replay not too long after we're done here. All right, let's get these guys glued down here. And I think that I know that the crystals are out of stock right now, but I think that they're supposed to be here any day now. So if the crystals are something you've been wanting to add into your embellishment collection, be sure to sign up for a restock notification because I believe that they are going to be restocked here fairly soon. So keep that in mind. Okay. I think I just have these ones. Yep. Oopsies. Getting little crystals all over the place here. All right. Yeah, I'm still not sure if I want to add them to this one or not. I might look at it afterwards and see what I think without gluing them down. But for now, I think I'm going to leave it as is, just 3 little trios of berries. I like to work in 3s, so I probably will leave that one off. But, oh, thank you, Heather, for linking to the stencils again. So there is, oh, thanks for joining us, Lori. I'm glad you could pop in for a little bit. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate that. And that is my card, friends. Super easy peasy, nothing like revolutionary, but turned out so fun. I think the white splatters are a fun little touch to make it look a little bit like snow. And I like the little berry trios as well. I think those are super adorable. All right, friends. Well, that's my card for today. So I'm going to go ahead and get my video all switched back around to me. And Heather will pick a winner here in a minute. Okay. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. Kelly, my card base was just like an aqua color. I don't know the brand of it. I have so much cardstock that I have accumulated over the years that I really just have it arranged in colors. So I don't know the exact color or company that it was made by, but it's just a shade of aqua that matches our aqua toned inks. So sorry, I'm not much help on that part. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. While we wait for the winner, I think Heather has some work that's going to be happening to her house. So we are unsure at this point if she's going to do Facebook Live on Thursday. So just keep an eye out on our Instagram stories and sign up for our email marketing, because if she does go live on Facebook, we'll definitely send out the email reminder 15 minutes before. Okay, it looks like we have a winner. Today's winner is Kitty Rainey. Congratulations on winning the $15 gift card. All you have to do is send an email to me to claim your prize. My email is leah@pinkfreshstudio.com, and there's no H on the end of my name. So make sure when you're typing it in, it's just LEA@pinkfreshstudio.com. Give me a few days to answer because I do get a lot of emails, but I'll get your prize out to you as soon as possible. So congratulations again. Thanks for joining me today. I had so much fun with you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this card, and if you recreate it or a version of it with products you might have on hand, let us know, share it with us. We would love to see what you create. All right, friends, that's everything that I have for you today. We're landing this ship, about 9 minutes early. Looks like we have a question from Janice. Will the blocks stencil be coming back into stock? I'm not completely sure what you mean by the blocks stencil, but rest assured, everything that has been released in the last year to year and a half, 2 years, will all come back into stock. So I'm not completely sure which stencil you mean, but the answer is yes, will likely be coming back in. Okay, so I think I've answered that. And I think that's everything I have for you guys. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today. And hopefully we might see you on Thursday. All right, have a great day, friends.